Thank you for joining me today for another coffee talk. I appreciate you tuning in. I want to touch on a few topics today I know are on the minds of families and staff members alike. You know, if you asked me what I envisioned for my first year as superintendent of Prosper ISD, I would have talked about the amazing students we have in this district, the supportive families, the incredible world-class, top-notch educators that go above and beyond for the students and families we serve. I appreciate and love our students and staff so very deeply and want nothing more than for them to finish this school year strong. The focus this year has been truly incredible work being done in our district. The fact that we started school in person weeks before most schools, holding in-person classes all year long in the midst of a global pandemic, literally building new support systems for students, staff, celebrating cross-country runners, swimmers, fine arts, football, and the list goes on. We were also instructing our students virtually who needed this option to learn while consistently keeping our standard of excellence in place. My belief is that kindness is being able to give someone else your strength when they need it the most. The last week has been full of emotions, and my hope is that we return to the place that made us fall in love with Prosper. The one thing I have always loved about this community is its ability to rally around one another in moments of strength and weakness. I don't think anyone out there will disagree that the safety of our students and staff is something we all care deeply about. My charge, along with our amazing PISD school board, is to care for nearly 20,000 students and more than 2,300 staff members. I respect the opinions of everyone I've heard from. I hope you know that decisions for all are never easy, but we have committed to keeping the health and safety of our staff members and students in our district a top priority. In a time of unrest, the strong become stronger by uniting and supporting each other. My hope is that in the days moving forward, as we close out the school year, that we remember that we have students who are depending on each of us to lead the way, show the way with grace, compassion, and kindness for all. I want to go ahead and jump into some of the questions that we received from many of you. The first question that I want to address is, what is Prosper ISD doing to address the childhood mental health crisis? So I don't know how many of you were able to get out to our Great Hope Walk this past Saturday, but it was an excellent event, and it was comprised of all of our different Hope Squads, and it was really a celebration of the great work that's going on in our school buildings, kindergarten through 12th grade, all elementary campuses, all middle school campuses, and all high school campuses. We are committed at a high level. Thank you to our PISD board for allowing us to commit at a high level to be able to offer this level of program and service to our students. They have become stronger. The cultures in our schools have become stronger because of our Hope Squad program, and I can't thank the advisors and the students in this program enough for all that they have done. And we had over 1,500 people who attended the event on Saturday, and it was just a great time for us to come together and really celebrate mental health. I also want to talk about our services that we have that are actually free to you as parents. So we have telebehavioral health through Children's Health, and it's a great service. This is actually an online service that's on demand, and so if you feel like your child needs the support of a counselor, and maybe they don't want to talk to the school counselor, but they would like to talk to someone on the outside of the school, you can actually give permission for your child to be involved in telebehavioral health. And so they actually connect with a counselor and they go through sessions with them. I had one parent who shared a great story, and their child was struggling, and they decided, I'll call the school counselor, and the school counselor said, you know, a good option would probably be telebehavioral health, because again, the student wasn't comfortable talking to someone who they see on a daily basis. And so they got connected with a telebehavioral health counselor through Children's, and the result was remarkable. The parents said that they started seeing this change. The level of anxiety started going down in their child. And then even beyond that, they called and followed up with the parent, and the parent was able to get supports on how do I continue to support my child so that they don't get in this place again. And that's what it is all about. It's about the school, the students and the parents, and then any support services we need either inside or outside of the school, coming together to really rally around each and every one of our kids that may need things, and they all need things. I guarantee you, at moments, our kids need adults. They need support, and we want to be there for them. So I'm very, very excited that we have these services, but I'm also very glad that we also have amazing counselors on all of our school campuses. We also have social emotional coaches at 4 of our elementary campuses who have done phenomenal work this year in being able to really intervene, support not only students but teachers and parents. So the next question that we have is, which school board seats are up for election, and where is this information readily found? So if you go out to our PISD website, we have a school board tab, and you can click on that and you can actually read a bio about each and every one of our school board members. You can also see what place they hold currently on the school board, and then when their term is up, what year they would be rolling off or trying to campaign for re-election to remain on the PISD school board. So you can certainly look at that, and also we have seats 4 and 7 that are open this year, and we have 5 candidates who are campaigning for place 4, and then we have 2 candidates who are campaigning for place 7. The election will be held on May 1st, and so I strongly encourage you to get out and vote and make sure that the candidate that you feel is the best fit, that they are the ones that you want to have in those seats, making decisions for not only your child but everyone's child in Prosper ISD. I will say too that I have actually partnered with the Prosper Chamber of Commerce, and they're planning on holding a Meet the Candidates event, so that way you can actually log in and see, or maybe attend in person, where you can hear from each of these candidates about the things that they're passionate about and the things that they want to see happen within Prosper ISD. So please stay tuned for that date, because it will be coming out very soon. When will kindergarten roundup be held this year? So we're really excited. That's actually May 3rd, and so the elementary principals, we want to make sure that we're able to invite those students who are eager to come to school for their first time in each of our elementaries to be able to come and visit the campus if they're wanting to do so. So we have that tentatively set for May 3rd, and I say tentatively set because every day seems to change somewhat depending on what's going on with our health and safety. Everything looks like it's trending in a great direction, so we went ahead and put that date of May 3rd on the calendar, and we will have our eager eaglets for our schools that have a mascot of an eagle, and then we will have our hatching hawks for our students that fall in the feeder pattern of our schools that have a hawk as a mascot. So again, May 3rd is the date, so be looking for information. We'll actually have a sign up for parents to be able to jump in and sign up for a time slot, because we do a time slot in the morning and then a time slot in the afternoon on each of our elementary campuses. So what is the projected year for opening Winsong Middle School and Winsong High School? So we're probably looking 2027, 2028. All of this is dependent on bonding capacity, because obviously we're going to need to be able to access those bond funds and be able to build our facilities. And so we know that our next middle school will actually be around 2023, 2024, and our next high school will be 2024 as an opening. So then we're looking at another 3 to 4 year cycle where we would be opening a middle school and a high school, which will be at the Winsong site, which is our best prediction right now based on our demographer report showing us where the growth is happening the most in our district, so we can fulfill that need. But again, it does depend on bonding capacity. It depends on how is the health of the Texas economy. There's a lot of factors that go into that, and we certainly want to get those buildings on the ground as quickly as we possibly can, but we certainly also want to make sure that we have the funds to get those built, and then also funds to be able to pay our staff that will be occupying those facilities and educating our students. What do we have in place to help students with college and career planning? So actually both of our high schools have college and career planning, and our counselors are more than happy to help with our students with college applications. They do a great job of making sure that they're publicizing the scholarships and different financial opportunities that students can take part of. But another thing that I want you to think about is we have a college and career counselor who will actually work with them on that college and career planning. And it's very important that I highlight college and career because not every student is planning to go to college. So we do want to think about career. We do want to think about military opportunities. And so I don't want to leave those areas out because someone who's wanting to go to school to be a cosmetologist, they may not be going to college necessarily, but there is a pathway for them. And so our counselors are more than happy to help with those different opportunities, no matter if it's college, career, or military, to help our students find their next. Will the district consider offering the option of virtual school again next school year? Well, I will tell you, we are working on that plan in the event, but as many of you know, I continue to reference the Texas Education Agency because they are our governing body, and so they have not made a final decision on virtual learning. As soon as they do, though, I will be glad to communicate that with you and make you aware, but just know on the back end, we are working on a plan of what that virtual learning would look like for our students in Prosper ISD, because we know that many of you, it worked extremely well for you, and then some of you, you needed to be in a building because you needed the social interaction. So we want to, if we're allowed to, through the Texas Education Agency, we want to continue to be able to educate students and meet them with where they are. How can the community communicate with our elected school board members? So I mentioned earlier about the website for the Prosper ISD School Board. There is actually a Prosper ISD Board of Trustees email address, and you would email any concerns or questions that you have, and that's right off of our website. And our board members receive each and every one of those emails, and they are able to see what your questions and concerns are. That's part of their work, is serving our community, specifically our school community. And so we want to make sure that you have access to them and that you have the opportunity to connect with them through an email address, which is on the PISD, again, school board link. Do we have to make up the time for the winter storm, and why? So the great thing, I guess, even though the storm was not fun at all, and it was certainly very daunting because many of us were struggling just to stay alive between trying to stay warm and have enough food and water, the Texas Education Agency came out and said that because the state of Texas was considered a disaster emergency area because of everything that happened with ERCOT and what was going on in our community, that we could submit a waiver to actually waive those missed school days, the instructional days. So we were fortunate because we were out of school on Monday when that storm hit, so we didn't have to take that day because we weren't going to be in school anyways, and I believe that was February 15th. And then the 16th through the 19th, those were actually school days, but I was able to submit a waiver with board approval to be able to waive those days. So we won't have to go through and make those up. So our holiday that's coming up in April and then days that we have in May, we will still have those on the calendar as a day off. You might be wondering about the Thursday that we had, and that Thursday actually we had banked instructional minutes. So it used to be that schools ran off of instructional days, but the Texas Education Agency several years ago changed that to students being required to attend schools through instructional minutes, and each student school year is 75,600 minutes. But what we do in Prosper ISD is when we plan a calendar for the upcoming school year, we bank in time in the event. So that way we can use that instructional time if we have bad weather, and then we don't have to adjust and rearrange the schedule. And I know those of you who are working parents, whenever we've had to kind of adjust on the fly at the last minute because of bad weather days, and then we had to make days up, that can be very daunting on you, and it may be lost wages for you depending on if you're in a position where you're paid on hourly by showing up to work. So we certainly never want to be a burden to a family if we can keep from doing that. So the instructional minutes piece of us banking that time in our calendar has been a very helpful thing that we've been able to do with the approval of our board on our school calendar to help you all out as parents, but also to help our students out. What is the plan moving forward for extracurricular options at elementary campuses? So here we are in the fourth quarter of the school year, and it has run down. We're almost out. I think we're about 42 days left of school. And so what we want to do is we want to get back to actually opening our doors up, and I know that our elementaries have been inviting in like a controlled number of parents who are willing to wear a mask to come in to actually have lunch with their children, and we certainly want to see our volunteers coming back. And it is our hope moving forward as we start the next school year that we will be able to have those clubs and different opportunities for our students, and that we can return to what is normal. It is really hard to talk about the future, and I know that many of you want to know, gosh, why can't you tell us what's going to happen in August? And are we going to have to do this? Or are we going to have to do that? That has been the greatest challenge this year. I was meeting with our Superintendent Advisory Council last week, and the group is comprised of 9th through 12th graders from both Rock Hill High School and Prosper High School. There are about 40 students in the group, and so I explained to them, because they are all leaders, that sometimes that's one of the hardest things as a leader in the middle of a pandemic, is knowing what will happen day to day, and I think we've all experienced that throughout the year. And so for me to stretch all the way out to say this is what August is going to look like, it wouldn't really be, number one, appropriate for me to make that call, because our school board makes those calls and decisions on school opening, or that's what the Texas Education Agency is telling us right now. Certainly I advise them, I provide them data, statistics, information, but I don't know that we can really say that. So just know that it is our hope that we return to school in the fall, and that we're able to offer those different extracurricular clubs, activities for our students at our campuses, and we return to what we all remember as normal. The next question is, are campaign signs allowed on school property? So no, they are not. And I know that many of you have reached out to either communications or to me directly to say that there are signs that are placed on school grounds, the campaign signs. So there are actually specific rules on where they can be placed, and they cannot be placed on school grounds. So with that being said, heed my word of caution. Do not go as an individual and pick these signs up. It could get you in a bad place as an adult, because then it looks like you're trying to throw the election one way or the other. What the proper process is, because our staff, as far as a principal or a teacher, we would not want them touching the signs either, or our students. And so what we're going to ask is that you respectfully not touch that, because that property of that sign, actually it belongs to that candidate. And we ask them, and we email and connect with them and ask them to go move their own sign. And then there's a timeline on it. If it's not removed or readjusted to a place that is legal for them to have it, then we would send out our maintenance department to go pick those up. They wouldn't destroy them, they wouldn't throw them away, they would take them back into their office, their building, and then we would make contact with that candidate to let them know that we have one of their signs, or that we have 2 or 3 of their signs, whatever it is that we've had to pick up, so that they can come to the actual school facility, our maintenance facility, pick those up, and then be able to go out there and place them in a legal area. But again, I cannot reiterate that enough. Please do not touch or pick up signs that do not belong to you. I've never seen it work well. I've never seen it go well. And I want every candidate to have an equal opportunity to be elected and really be able to have their best chance at serving on the Prosper ISD School Board, because it is a highly sought after position because of the great things that are happening within our school district that we are so very proud of. I do also want to speak about, many of you have had questions about the $240,000 approval of Creative Energies for our equity and inclusion work. And so I want to talk a little bit about that, because there are a lot of rumors, I think, that are going around. Number one, that's not local tax dollar. So the federal government sends us a report every single year, and it is tied to our federal programs within public education, and that's for any public school across the state of Texas. And those programs are career and technical education, bilingual education, special education, students who fall in economically disadvantaged categories, and they give us reports on that, and they show us what's happening with our students based off of this federal report. And so they give you information, and it involves school discipline. It involves a lot of different parameters, data points, and statistics. And what the federal government said is that we were over-identifying students who were being placed in in-school suspension that fell in the special education category, and that certainly is a concern for us. And so with the board, as well as committees within our district comprised of leaders, we've talked about how do we go about doing this work so that we do what we can do best for our students, all students, no matter who they are. And so the decision was made that we would be looking at using these federal dollars that we have to use. We have to spend those. It's not a choice not to spend them. And it has very specific parameters around it on what we can spend it on. So you might say, well, why don't you just hire more teachers? That won't work because the federal government has specific things that they say that we have to do in order to perform this corrective action. And so what we felt like was going to be in the best interest of our students is to hire a consultant who would come in and do coaching with our specific campuses. And so that's Dr. Kimberly McLeod, and she will be working with each of our campuses with the principal. And you might go, well, okay, is she going to be working directly with students, and does she have a scripted curriculum? What is she going to do? She doesn't have a scripted curriculum because this is based on the needs of students. And I will tell you, as a former curriculum person, it is never a good idea to purchase a canned program because it will push things in a certain way. When we design around our own students in Prosper ISD and our own staff in Prosper ISD and our leaders in our community, we get a better return on what we're trying to accomplish. And so we have committed to that with Dr. McLeod. She will be coaching and working with our administrators at the campus level. So for example, she would work with Mr. Toth and the Rock Hill High School administrative team. They would look at data, discipline reports. They would talk about trends and patterns that they're seeing on the campus. And then she would be able to provide them coaching and ideas of things that they could do. This is about preventative measures, being proactive versus reactive, because when a student is already in trouble in the office and an administrator has to make the decision for an in-school suspension or an out-of-school suspension, it is too late. We should have done work way back before that student ever got to that point of making that choice to then put them in a situation of in-school suspension or out-of-school suspension. So that's where the work will come through our administrators that we love, our administrators that we trust and we have faith in, so that they can help support their campus, because who better to know their kids and the staff that they've hired than the campus administration. They have been head in on that, and they work with you as families, and so they know also what you're looking at and what you're expecting from your family. But for this to be a one-sided, slanted program, it is absolutely not. And I have encouraged any parent that I've talked to, if you have any concerns, then you need to reach out to your campus administrator and you need to talk to them about what this is looking like or what your concern is. Communication. Communication, communication. It is key to our success in Prosper ISD, which is why I'm doing these coffee talks. It's not fun to get in front of a camera and start talking about things that I know that some people are maybe sitting and they're upset by some things that I've said, and there are some people that are very happy with the things that I've said, because it's hard to meet everybody where they are. But the one thing that I can guarantee you, the one thing that I can commit to, is being connected to you and communicating with you. And again, it may not be what you want to hear, or it may be what you want to hear. But again, remember, we are all in this together. It is all about unity. It's all about supporting our kids. There are too many distractions from adults that happen that it hurts our kids and it hurts our staff. And no one, as I said earlier, can care more deeply for students and staff than the Prosper community. And that is what I'm expecting, I'm wishing for, and I'm hoping for, is that we return to what we know Prosper ISD to be. And it is a beacon of light for all around us across this nation. That's why you moved here. You didn't move here because it was a failing school that wasn't doing well. You moved here because of the staff that we have in place and the opportunities and programs that we have in place. And I want us all to remember that, and I want us all to rally around one another and come together for the sake of our kids and our staff. I want to thank you for your time today. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to take some time out of your day and really be able to hear and know what is on my heart right now. And right now I will tell you the number one thing on my heart, our kids and our staff. and I want them to be able to heal, and I want them to be able to finish a year like no other. And our Prosper ISD School Board wants that same exact thing. So please, please remember, we are Prosper and we are one, and that means something. Thank you.